Welcome to the Magic Kingdom. Now, this is my Goofy. This is called holography. This is how a photon acts. This is how a photon acts. People argue, that's not what they look like. Whatever. They measured them. This is holography. This is how they act. Okay. A photon is conscious light. You are conscious light. 2 months after you were conceived in your mother's womb, when the pineal gland is fully formed, you, as a photon, enter into that pineal gland. And when you die, you will leave that pineal gland. When you hold your breath, you close your eyes and hold your breath for a few seconds. Whenever you observe a light wave, it collapses to a particle, and that is the light you see. Initially, you will see angles of light come in. But for the time being, this is a photon. You are a photon. You were made in the image of God. The Bible says God is light because God is photon. All of them, all of it, everything, everywhere. You are an individual, conscious being of light. As Yoda said, luminous beings are we, not this crude matter. So, your eternal self is a photon. And this is an image of it through holography. I'm not going to get into a debate about what they look like. This is important. I'm going to sit Goofy right here. Maybe he'll stay. This is the Red Cross, the Iron Cross, the Templar's Cross, the Rosa Croix, the Rosy Cross, Rosicrucian, Red Shield, which is what Rothschild means. Red Shield. Blue Cross, Blue Shield. Okay? This is what you are. This is what's running this body. Hang on 1 second. Just wanted to make sure. This is a person emitting photon light measured from where? Within. Where did Jesus say the kingdom was? The kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. It's within you. Here is a different kingdom. This is Walter Elias Disney and his kingdom. This is a map of his Disneyland. This is also a map of our brain and how it works. And that's what we're going to show you. Oh, Goofy fell. Sorry, buddy. We'll hang on to you. So, first, Walter Elias Disney. Walter means power or ruler, army. Elias means the Lord is my God. Disney means from or of Isigny, I-S-I-G-N-Y, or Isigny. I don't know how to say it in French. It's a place in France. Isigny, or Isigny, or Incy, is a commune in Calvados, which means barebacks, which is in Normandy, which means Northman, which is in France, or the Franks, which means the realm of the spear. This is a larger view of the park. What I will be showing you, even though this is a representation of the brain, your chakra system is represented in this part of the park. The reason there's a lake here, this is the sea. Anything below the waist is the sea. This is Poseidon's domain. And I know what the trident is. And we will get into the trident at a much later video. And if you know what it is, please, I'd like to talk to you. There is a trident to be found. Poseidon's trident. This is the sea, the underworld, the lower world. Below the waist is the sea. Just remember that. Let's move on. This is another image. What do we see here? It's a photon. And it's in all the parks. Another image of that. Another image of that. And here we begin. Try to sit you here, Goofy. I've been waiting for this. This is good. So anything below is the sea. This is your waist. This representing your head. You have two pieces of tissue in your brain up here. They're shaped like horns. And they're called the claustrum. The claustrum secretes a holy oil which travels down the spine and becomes your sexual reproductive fluid. So the claustrum, the horn-shaped claustrum in the brain, releases the holy oil. This is the Holy Claus, the Saint Claus, the Santa Claus that travels, is transformed and travels down the chimney to leave gifts under your tree, the tree of life. Now, when it reaches this point, before it enters the spine, blood is shed from it. Blood separates and it becomes cerebrospinal fluid. This holy oil is called chrism. which means Christ. When it reaches the spinal cord and sheds its blood for you, the chrism, the Christ, sheds its blood for you for your sins. Because this is the place where all the sin comes from, the emotions, the electrical energy, that raw electrical current that travels to the left hemisphere of the brain. This is where that holy oil goes, and only through meditation, whether purposely or sometimes it just happens. You could be just doing your thing. That chrism, that Christ, that holy oil rises up the spine. When it gets to the third chakra, it is turned into electrical fire, electricity, and then rises up to the pineal gland of the brain. Okay? This is a Google image. A Google... This is a Google Earth image. Disney World in Florida. Photon. Photon. Fort Langhorne, this is left brain. It's in the west of the park. Left brain is always west. Fort Langhorne. This is just one example, and then we'll move on. Lang means long, longhorn. Horn, Old English horn, the horn of an animal. Projection, pinnacle, the pinnacle. Also wind instrument, originally one made from animal horns, from Proto-Germanic. Herne, source also of German horn, Dutch horen, Old Frisian horn, Gothic harn. From Proto-Indo-European root, ker, K-E-R, which means horn or head. Late 14th century is one of the tips of the crescent moon. The name was retained for a class of musical instruments that developed from the hunting horn. The French horn is a true representative of the class. I'm looking for something here. Figurative senses of Latin cornu included salient point. I should have looked salient up. I'm at a loss at the moment. Chief argument. Wing, flank, power. Horn means power. The long power of the photon. Courage and strength. Long, Old English lang, Langhorne, Fort Langhorne. Having a great linear extent that extends considerably from end to end, tall, lasting. From Proto-Germanic langa, source of also Old Frisian, Old Saxon lang, Old High German, and German lang, Old Norse langer, Middle Dutch lank, Dutch lang, Gothic lags, meaning long. The Germanic words are from Proto-Indo-European delongos, Source also of Latin longus, long extended, further of long duration, distant, and remote. Source also of Greek dolikos, Dolikhos, which means long, or indelekis, which means perpetual. The fort of perpetual power, that constant current of electricity that fuels your 10%, the left brain. And that 10% is important, and we're going to get to that. So, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. Big Thunder. The Old West themed roller coaster in the West. Because it's the Old West. It's your left brain. You use 10%. Jacob in the Old Testament of the Bible was in the desert. He had nothing but a stone, a rock. And he gave 10% to talk to God. What did he give 10% of? He gave up that left hemisphere. All you have ever been, all you have ever experienced consciously is through the left hemisphere of the brain, and it is the 10%. The 90% is in the right hemisphere of the brain. This is the origin of tithing. Jacob gave 10%. And he said, I shall call this place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face, and I have been renewed. I'm not even going to get into the Peniel and the Peniel. It's doable. We'll do it at another time. But Bill Donahue did it. I can do it a little bit more, a little better. The student should always do better than his teacher. I'm paranoid. I'm going to check the clock. And we're golden. The Barnstormer, Goofy's Barnstormer, is in the Storybook Circus area of the Disney parks. I don't know why I'm mentioning that. This is still Disney World. First aid, I want you to pay attention to that. Here is, from the Peniel to the base of your spine, the entrance. Second chakra is the sacrum. You have 33 vertebrae of your spine, 5 of which fuse at the sacrum after you are born as you start to grow, which leaves you 28 vertebrae to the brain. The same number of a moon cycle, but there's 33 in total, which is why Walter Disney had Club 33, and we'll get to that. Pay attention Root chakra, red. Second chakra, the sacrum. Pentagram in shape. This is home plate in baseball. We'll do sports. But this is the sacrum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 5 bones that fuse together. The Death Star. And Star Wars is coming. But it's there. In fact, there was something here, I don't know if it still is, called Pluto's Pumpkin Pursuits. This Pluto here I got from the thrift store not too long ago. Pirates of the Caribbean version. And this is actually from Shanghai's Disney park. So he's not orange, but Pluto's pretty much orange. Pumpkins are orange. And the color of the second chakra, or the sacrum, which means sacred place, is orange. So I said there's 33 bones in the spine. Club 33, secretive members only club within the castle. It's above the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And the Pirates of the Caribbean ride represents a descent into the subconscious, confronting shadow aspects before re-emerging with the treasure of wisdom, the underworld, or the lower aspects of oneself below the 33 bones of the vertebrae, which you must rise to gain in consciousness to the secret club above, Club 33. So if the entrance is the root chakra, number 2, number 3, temptation. Why is this temptation? It's where all the shops are. This is where you get the toys and the treats. You're tempted into materialism. That's where I got this guy. I've had him 38 years, since I was about 9 years old. And I bought him right here on our way out. In fact, I have a photo of me in front of the sacrum, holding this guy. Actually, I think it's out here, but yeah. I got him in here. I had to have a plush Goofy. I don't know why. And I still have him. Here he is. We're going to get to this. Let me move on. This is Disneyland in California. Entrance. Sacrum. Sacred Grove, the sacred place. Temptation. This is Main Street. Main Street is also the Avenue of the Dead. This is Main Street, which is the heart, 4th chakra. Main Street, the heart of America. It's the heart. We'll get to the temptation, but same layout. Here's your photon. There's your photon. This is the pineal. With the park, west is left brain, everything worldly. This is all worldly stuff. Adventureland. Right hemisphere of the brain, Tomorrowland. Everything's futuristic. Creative, the creative side. This is a simple version of the Tree of Life, and this is what we've talked about in previous videos, if you didn't know already. And I have overlaid this onto your Disneyland. Now, when we were kids, I don't know why. I think it's just natural, and I will show you this. Why? I know for me, and maybe I spoke for everyone, but we tended to experience the left side or the west side of the park first, and then move to the right side of the park, the east. And then we would travel back through this row of gateways to leave the park. So, let me see what the next slide is. This is just zoomed out a little bit. You have the C. This is your waist. This is your root chakra. Let's go back. So, stay a little bit. This is good. When you sit in meditation, however you decide to do it, you can do the holding your breath and the closing your eyes for a few seconds and letting go. You can keep doing that, or you can just sit. But as long as you sit still, be still, and know that I am the Lord your God. Be still. The energy that fierce sexual reproductive energy that came down from the colostrum shed its blood for you. When you sit still in meditation, starts to rise up through the spinal column. This is the Kundalini, the 3.5 times coiled serpent, that the sine waves of vibrations, the ratio, the radius, the red, that brings the energy up to the sacrum. This is where that home plate grove is, and leads you into temptation, where the shops are, the tasty treats and the wonderful toys. Temptation split into two, because you always have a choice. You could take the right-hand path or the left-hand path. Remember the first aid. If you lay the tarot cards out where they are specific to go here, this is the death card. First aid, the first aid center of DisneyWorld, Disneyland. Because the left-hand path always leads to death, either the death of your meditation, the death of yourself in the moment, or the final. Right-hand path, temptation. There's always two choices. Green, this is the heart of it all, the main street. Blue, throat chakra, Mars. You have another choice. You can lie, you can tell the truth. You can disclose the information that you've learned. As that electrical energy roundabout travels up through these chakras and enters the pineal gland of the brain, you have another choice. You can live with and live by the truth that you've been shown, or you can choose to ignore it, not do it anymore. Leave your pineal gland alone. I don't recommend it. I'm going to check the camera one more time. I should have more faith in that. So, in the Kabbalah tree of life, this is Malkuth, representing the physical world, root chakra, red. This is where you, the visitor to your mind, or the park, the magic kingdom, begin your journey and pass through a threshold that symbolizes leaving the mundane and entering a sacred space of transformation. Walt Disney did a pretty good job. If you've had the benefit of being a child and going to this place, or just still being a child, go. It's wonderful. So the train station at the entrance represents the veil of perception. And the train circles the park, summarizing the boundary between lower and higher consciousness. Most directly, it is the layers surrounding the brain and the spinal cord. The dura mater, or hard mother, the arachnoid web or veil between that and the pia mater, or soft mother. Main Street, USA. This is the desert. We talked about in another video. So this is temptation in the desert. So the ascent from the root chakra Malkuth through the lower Sephirot or chakras, your material concerns, community, Main Street, USA, the community, or belonging, are the stepping stones on the spiritual path. Adventureland, Tomorrowland, Fantasyland. They could represent the three pillars of the tree of life. The left and the right and the central path. This is the narrow, the straight and the narrow. This is the way. Not that way. This way. And like we showed before, here's your photon. This is the pineal. This is where you see your photon collapse to a particle. The beginning of your meditation. And you know, the paths radiating outward from the castle can mirror the neural pathways that process different experiences and perceptions, but we are concentrating on what happens when you meditate. And I can only speak from experience. I don't know what other people have experienced. But like I said, the park naturally guided us through a process from left brain, logic and the physical world, to the right brain, the creative and spiritual, and then back out again. The integration of the two leads to whole brain activation, or the balance, the ball and the lance. The ball and the lance. So, let's go through. So you begin your meditation. This is where the coiled snake is, the serpent, the sine waves, the sin waves. And they travel, they swirl up the winding stairs to the temple. The pineal. When you get to that point, you will see in your mind's eye, because your eyes are closed this whole time, you will see in your mind's eye, you'll see a flashes of light swirling past, swirling. That's the electrical energy traveling through the 12 nerve centers of your brain. When you get to that point, when you see that swirling flash of light, let go, relax, and let it happen. If you can make it that far, what's going to happen is let's go back. So you're at the pineal, the flashing light swirling around. What will eventually happen, you'll feel it and you'll see it in your mind's eye. The electrical energy will light up the left brain, and you'll feel it move and stop at the middle. This is the Israelites leaving Egypt and standing on the shores of the Red Sea. Wait a moment. Let the Red Sea part naturally. When that wind from the east comes, and you'll feel and see with your mind's eye that electrical energy illuminate the right hemisphere of the brain. And it lights up the whole thing and brings balance. Once it does that, above the pineal, above the crown chakra, which I will show you, the electrical energy moves to the 7th chakra, and you're gone. No thought. Up the mountain, the desert of temptation. Abraham said, I will take no thread. Jesus said, take no thought. When you reach that 7th chakra and you leave your photon, you go to no thought and you're gone. It could be seconds or minutes. It could be 1,000 years wherever you go, but you're gone. And you come back, and it's time to leave the park. Later, the more you do this, even if you're just doing the little short 10-second exercises every day, later, the more you do this, you will live with a balance, both hemispheres lit up, not just running on that 10%. And you'll feel the crown chakra, Saturn, it has rings, and you'll feel the rings. You will feel this halo. Saturn, Kronos, crown us king, because when you receive that crown of gold, you have kinged yourself. You are the king. Let's check something out. Oh, there's the tree of life laid out in the park. I mean, I did, but it's there. This is above the pineal. Your 8-pointed star, which we've talked about, is your crown chakra. Above the head, the top of the head. your halo. Disney World, same layout. We were looking at Disneyland. First aid, where the death card from the tarot goes for the end of the left-hand path. Disney World, your photon. Disneyland, your photon. Same. Different park. This is California. This is the original. The 8-pointed star of Inanna. There's a close-up. This Astro Orbiter ride, if it's still there, fits perfectly in here. This courtyard for Adventureland fits perfectly in there. Above the castle, once you leave that crown chakra and you enter into the magic kingdom, where did Jesus say the kingdom was? Within you. The sword and the stone, right there. Because your spine is the sword and the pineal gland is the stone. You have pulled the sword from the stone and become king. And anyone who can pull the sword from the stone can become king. Now they're talking about years ago, Camelot Castle in Great Britain gave Trump Excalibur sword. I think it was 2016. Okay. He's not a real person. This is what they're talking about. The sword, your spine, and the stone, the pineal gland, King Arthur. Knights of the Round Table. It's the sun. And the sun within you. So, we've been through the whole thing. And when you see those swirling flashes, which is the flashing sword of the cherubim or the cerebrum that guards the way to the tree of life. Those flashing lights, you need to settle in and relax and let go until that electrical energy lights up the left hemisphere of the brain, moves into the right, balances the two, and opens your crown chakra, and you pull the sword from the stone. And when you're done, you go back. You leave the park. It's time to leave the park when you're done. And your energy goes back down toward the sea, below the root chakra. But you can maintain this. You can live wearing a crown. But before we leave the park, I keep showing you this. Before we leave the park, you want to meet Mickey Mouse, right? Everybody loves to meet Mickey Mouse. You go to a Disneyland or a Disney World. So let's meet. Not a lot of room over here. Let's meet Mickey Mouse before we leave the park. So mouse, from Middle English, mouse without an E. From Old English, moose, small rodent. Also, muscle of the arm. Compare muscle. From Proto-Germanic mus, source also of Old Norse, Frisian, Middle Dutch, Danish, Swedish moose, Dutch muis, German mas, mouse. This is from Proto-Indo-European mus, M-U-S. The Old Indo-European name of the mouse retained in several language families. Old Church Slavonic, Latin, and Lithuanian, which means mouse. Greek, mys, M-Y-S, which means mouse, or muscle. Muscle. Contractible animal tissue consisting of bundles of fibers, late 14th century, a muscle of the body, from Latin musculus, meaning a muscle. Literally, a little mouse. From the same roots. So, Arabic, adala, muscle. Adal, field mouse. Cornish, logodenfer, calf of the leg, literally mouse of the leg. In Middle English, lacerte, from the Latin word for lizard. Also was used as a word for a muscle. The little mouse of the brain metaphorically represents the cerebellum, often called the little brain. The cerebellum is located at the back of the brain, below the cerebrum or the cherubim, and its name comes from Latin, meaning little brain. The cerebellum plays a crucial role in coordination of movement, fine-tuning motor activities, much like a mouse's precise, quick movements. Balance and posture. Motor learning, similar to how a mouse learns to navigate in environments. Mickey Mouse. Mickey is a nickname for Michael. Michael means he who remembers. Who resembles God. The Mickey Mouse, the Michael Mouse, the Michael Muscle. Yes. Mickey Mouse could symbolically represent the cerebellum, or a similar hidden but vital part of the brain. The cerebellum is relatively small compared to the rest of the brain. Remember, it is the little brain. But it plays a crucial role in coordination and balance. Similarly, Mickey Mouse, though small in stature, is an iconic and influential character symbolizing precision, playfulness, and adaptability. Mickey often resolves chaos and creates harmony. Which mirrors how the cerebellum fine-tunes motor functions and brings balance to physical movements. The cerebellum is often linked to subconscious processes, right brain, working behind the scenes. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Much like Mickey Mouse represents imaginative creativity and a sense of magic operating beneath the surface of the mundane. Mickey's iconic ears might symbolize heightened perception or awareness, potentially tied to how the brain processes sensory and spatial information. Just earlier, I was listening to Napoleon Hill's book from 1937, Think and Grow Rich, which he talks about sensory and spatial information, how a human voice can be transformed into a higher vibration, sent to someone's radio, and then they hear the human voice come out. And we talk to each other mentally like that every day, whether unaware or not. So, why am I talking about the cerebellum, which sits at the top of your spinal cord? The Michael muscle, that which resembles God, that gives us our impulses. It ensures smooth and precise movements by integrating sensory input with motor commands, rhythm and balance, and posture, motor learning, muscle memory, timing and rhythm, cognitive and emotional roles. If Mickey Mouse symbolizes the cerebellum, he who resembles God or resembles this power, remember the long horn, his playful, rhythmic personality reflects the cerebellum's role in fluid movement and timing. Animation is key. That's key. Mickey's ability to navigate challenges can mirror how the cerebellum adapts to new motor tasks or environments. His presence as an orchestrator in many Disney stories parallels how the cerebellum harmonizes multiple brain systems to keep things running smoothly. Coordination and harmony. These are some repeats. Let me read them. Cerebellum's function. The cerebellum ensures that movements are smooth, coordinated, and balanced. The two ears, the two hemispheres, balanced. It integrates sensory input with motor commands to create harmony in actions. Mickey Mouse, as Disney's central character, often brings order and harmony to chaotic situations, whether he's orchestrating a symphony in The Sorcerer's Apprentice or navigating challenges. He embodies coordination, adaptability, and balance. Mickey could represent the cerebellum's role as behind-the-scenes organizer, quietly ensuring that everything flows seamlessly. Like God, or the faith in God. What resembles God? If the cerebellum connects subconscious motor processes with conscious intentions, left side. Subconscious motor processors, conscious intentions. It acts as a bridge between two worlds. In many Disney narratives, Mickey leads characters into new realms of imagination, magic, and discovery. This guiding rule mirrors how the cerebellum integrates subconscious processes into our lived experience. Mickey could symbolize a spiritual or mental guide, helping us align our actions with deeper subconscious rhythms. So the cerebellum governs balance. Mickey's two ears, and Mickey, the Michael muscle, as the cerebellum, might be seen as the orchestrator of magic, ensuring that the body's movement through life aligns with divine, universal, nature's rhythms. We could talk about the steamboat and the paddle wheel of the steamboat. Mickey is the helmsman. Symbolism is everywhere, and it's no ending. When you create something and it comes from that right brain, it's going to have all these elements involved with it anyway. So whether Walter Elias Disney was conscious of these things or aware of these things in his left brain, they were bound to come out. And he's not the only one with the brain park. It's everywhere. It's Jerusalem. It's Mecca. It's all over. We'll get into that. We'll do a whole video on that. So, the cerebellum, often called the little brain, the little mouse, the Mickey Mouse, plays a vital role in coordinating movement, balance, timing, and even subconscious processes. When viewed symbolically, it can be connected to Mickey Mouse and his iconic steamboat and Steamboat Willie, with each representing aspects of the cerebellum's function. I know I didn't get into the steamboat, but think about it. So, this symbolic relationship offers a way to understand how unseen forces, whether in the brain's conscious or the spiritual realm, keeps life's journey steady, balanced, and in rhythm. And looking upward, that electrical energy, looking upward through the spinal cord and the vertebrae, looking upward from down below, striving to be who is like God, Michael, who resembles God. Within us is that Michael muscle, that Mickey Mouse, in the resemblance of the cerebellum. And here he is. looking upward, the Mickey Mouse. That human aspect of yourself, striving upward, facing upward, resembling God, heading towards that pineal to meet God face to face, so you can be renewed through meditation. This is its Wakey time, 13. This is the Magic Kingdom. Good night. Have a pleasant tomorrow. Have a good day.